I think everybody needs to live healthy and happy. For the last 4 decades, from what's called the third world healthcare, today we are global leaders in healthcare. Almost in every single field of health, we are up there. In every technology, whether it is cath labs, whether it is major advanced oncological diseases, and finally proton. There was no proton when I started proton in UK, nothing in Southeast Asia, nothing in Singapore, Australia, everywhere. But in 1981, in one of the American cardiologists, they saw 3 people who didn't get up from the duty room. All 3 were Indians. Then hell broke out. Indians get a heart attack. So they did a study in that slum next to London airport. They said they all eat coconut oil. I said, don't be foolish.
So many youngsters today who are dropping suddenly with a heart attack. I'm sure you have studied this and you've seen this increasing pattern as we see around us.
It's a genetic problem, genetic alteration in South Asians because of a famine which took place a few hundred centuries ago, that they portrayed the women as the savior. You know, because we have more than 50% of the doctors are nurses, more than 80% of the nurses are women, and several other technologies are women. And they're doing this great job, you know, healing people.
You know, everybody is talking about work-life balance. What is your view on that? Having a meal together can be a biggest stress buster. Is that lost or should we bring it back into society now? You know, man of science, person of science and spirituality, they're supposed to be 2 separate paths. How can a person who believes in science and who's a doctor also be spiritual or have deep faith? That's
why I said 3 H's. My future vision is health, happiness at home.
Namaste, Jayant, and welcome to a conversation I've been looking forward to have for a while. He's famed as a healer, someone who totally revolutionized healthcare in Bharat. And it's my pleasure and honor to be able to sit across and speak with Dr. Prathap Reddy ji of Apollo Hospitals.
Thank you, Anand. I'm happy that we are speaking about health of the nation, health of the world. I think everybody needs to live healthy and happy.
So let me, today is about life, leadership, and of course looking at health. Where do you see Bharat today in healthcare? And if I were to ask you, what do you think, what do you foresee are going to be our biggest challenges in this field?
I think first we must say, over the last 4 decades, from what's called the third world healthcare, today we are global leaders in healthcare. Almost in every single field of health, we are up there. If you look, I mean, I'm a cardiologist. I started because there was no acceptable cardiac surgery program in the country, and a few people who can afford, the rich and the powerful, I used to send abroad because there was no facility in the country. The medical equipment, import duty was 320%. There is no funding available for medicine. So there was absolutely zero development when the world was adapting newer technologies. So today I'm happy, after 40 years, we are as good as any center anywhere in the world. Talking about cardiology, cardiothoracic I started. Today we have done the world's largest number of cardiac surgeries and all different of surgeries, including minimal robotic cardiac surgeries. And in cardiac interventions, we have done everything including structural heart. So whatever world is doing, we have done. And we have done the largest number. And in healthcare, it's not the numbers. It is the outcomes. Our outcomes are equal or better than the best centers. You know, like for example, Cleveland Clinic is reputed for its heart. We are right there. You know, both in numbers we are better, our outcomes are better, and what's most important is we made it approachable for people. We don't charge $50,000. We started with $4,000. Today, after 40 years, we charge $5,000 for an ordinary person. So I think this is where it is. I'm just mentioned this. And we also done, for example, transplants. I got the act passed about 22 years ago, and today in 22 years, we've overtaken people who have been doing in US for 50 years. We've done 22,000 heart surgery, heart transplant, lung transplant, liver, kidney, all the transplants we've done, and we've done the largest numbers. 22,500 was the last count. Probably today is 22,700. So I think this is where, in every single field, what we have done was, our purpose was to say that the patient has a trust in us.
Correct.
So for us, patient is first. So whatever that's available for them, for him, we quickly started adopting technology. Like, for example, the first CT in the country was brought by Apollo. Today, how many? There are over 2,000, 2,000 to 3,000 CTs are there. CTs are manufactured in India by GE. They're exporting the CTs. So it's similarly in every technology, whether it is cath labs, whether it is major advanced oncological diseases, and finally proton. There was no proton when I started proton in UK, nothing in Southeast Asia, nothing in Singapore, Australia, everywhere. But we started 2 protons. Now we're putting 2 more.
2 more.
One in Hyderabad, one in Delhi. There's a need. But we can adapt whatever. See, what we do is we attend what is called the RSNA in US. That shows whatever the new developments in technology in for healthcare for the next year during the Thanksgiving, November.
Right.
And similarly in October, in cancer they show. So we asked that technology. So from day one our focus is to use that day's technology. Like, for example, today I ordered the proton for Hyderabad and Delhi, but it is today's proton. But on the day of installation, they should put whatever is available on that day.
That day.
That is the condition that we write. So this is where I think Apollo and most of the other hospitals in India are following the latest possible technology.
So, Doctor, you're saying that in
which
the last...
makes a difference in the outcomes of the people.
So you're saying last 4 decades, let's also look at where we have come, where we were and where we have come.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, because you're a cardiologist. Why is it that there are so many youngsters today who are dropping suddenly with a heart attack? I'm sure you have studied this and you've seen this increasing pattern as we see around us.
When I came back from US about in the 70s, I used to see patients. I still remember a patient from one of the banks. I don't want to mention the name. They come for their checkups. So one of the young recruits, 26-year-old, he joined. He came for a checkup. I found that he had a positive for cardiac. So he went abroad and had his bypass. He's perfect. So I have seen a number of these, and that is what changed in 79. I had a young man, 38-year-old, who was under my treatment for almost 6 months, but he couldn't get relief. The only savior for him was surgery. So I fixed with Dr. Anand in October. Unfortunately, he died on November 9th, 1979. You know why? He couldn't afford that $50,000. Although Denton was willing to give 10% discount, he couldn't afford that. And I saw his wife and 2 children and brought back all the young people's memories and said, how many more are going to die because they can't afford this?
Surgery.
Now, getting back to your original question, why young Indians are in 1974 in American cardiology, by that time I saw 2-3 patients. So I saw one patient, I saw his grandson getting a heart attack, and I saw then his father getting a heart attack. The son came before his father. So like this I used to see young people. So I told them in there, but one of them said, oh, Indians don't know the date of birth. I said, don't be foolish. They not only don't know the date, they know the star on which they're born. But in 1981, in their, one of the American cardiologists, they saw 3 people who didn't get up from the duty room. All 3 were Indians. Then hell broke out. Indians get a heart attack. So they did a study in that slum next to London airport. They said they all eat coconut oil. I said, don't be foolish. Keralites not only eat coconut oil, they rub all over the body. They don't have increase in this. Then they blamed ghee. I said, I told my grandma, my mother-in-law, he drinks not teaspoon, tablespoon. She is absolutely healthy. So finally they did a lot of study, and the study was that it's a genetic problem, genetic alteration in South Asians because of a famine which took place a few hundred centuries ago. So I think we're seeing that, we're seeing more of it. This is why we're stressing that they should have an early checkup. I'll come back to it when we talk about prevention, what we can do to make a difference for these young people.
Because I'm asking you, Dr. Saab, because I'm sure you would also see cases like this where there are perfectly healthy people on the face of it who suddenly drop, who suddenly have a cardiac arrest or they have a heart attack and then they drop. In the recent times, we've seen a lady who was going to office, a person who was a lifetime vegetarian, another person who's used to eat all sorts of stuff in the world, a third person who's just walking on the street or playing badminton and suddenly drops. Now these cases were they always there, or do you feel something's changed in our habit, in our lifestyle that's triggering this?
I think it is there. As I said, young people are getting heart attack. Not too long ago, about 5 weeks ago, one youngster, one of my patients who had a transplant in bypass in Houston, his grandson, he felt uncomfortable in his chest. We didn't know whether it was a chest pain or something, but in the bedroom, he was thinking of something. Then he came to the drawing room, met his wife and other relatives, and said, I'm not feeling too well. I don't know what this is about. You get me some hot water. So he drank hot water, and then they said, what next to do, and dropped dead. And it was a Sunday. And this is why I'm going to announce next month that Apollo will be the first hospital in the world which will never sleep.
Oh, wow.
It will work 365. We will not work 24/7, emergency only. But I want people like this, because he didn't know it was a heart attack. He didn't know it was an emergency. If he knew it was an emergency, we were the first one who had the 4-letter 1066. If you had called 1066, our ambulances are artificial A5. So from the moment you go to the patient, that gets connected to the doctor. And the two people who go there, the driver and the supplier, both are trained people, technologists. So they start the treatment right there, and the doctor directs them. So we could have saved lives with ambulance. So I think what is necessary for us to see, to give this information saying health is first. You must look after your health. We look after everything else, your body, your dress, your eating habits, all of this is there. But very few or none at all, a small percentage of people care for saying, am I healthy?
Am I healthy?
I'm not fit. Am I healthy? So this is where I think our future vision for Apollo is to see how can we drive these preventive health checkups.
What drives you, sir? What makes you get up in the bed, get up from the bed every morning and say, I have to do this. I have a purpose.
If they know mine, and if everybody follows what I do, the country and the world will be a healthy one.
So please tell us.
For 45 years, I had blood pressure, I have diabetes, I have invented both of it, I had a heart attack, I was obese. After 45 years, even after the stroke, I had the heart attack, they put a stent. I'm perfectly normal. I do my normal work, like any other person who 6 days a week I work, and I do my duties regularly, because I take care of all of these. My blood pressure is was 140/70 last night, and my sugars this morning was 92. So I have no stress. I got a lot of work, a lot of challenges. I solve it. Afterwards, I say, I've done my best. And little prayers,
So-
release me completely. Before I go to bed, I have that prayer, so I get a comfortable sleep.
How
So
can you
that's-
not have stress, sir? You said
I have
I
a
don't
lot
take
of-
stress. How do you not
I
do
have
that?
a lot
What is the
of-
secret? Is there a method to this?
I have a lot of stress because what we have is a continuous challenge of patients coming with different problems
Correct.
and saying, are we doing, have we got everything to make him well? I'll give you a small example. About 5 weeks ago, 2 people came from air ambulance on the same day. One from Sweden, one from New South Wales. Both were unconscious. Both were told there is no chance in them. So I went to the hospital. The relative, the mother of the child came and cried before me. I have to take. I said, we will do our very best. So I spoke to them. They think they were, a panel of doctors were looking after them. They were doing their very best. The outcome is, the boy, I met him last Saturday.
Wow.
And he came in a wheelchair, and his mother this time hugged me and cried out of happiness. And that boy has told my secretary, every Saturday afternoon I go there. So he said, I'm going to walk into Dr. Reddy's office and shake hands with him. And the other patient had this problem from Sweden. He is perfectly all right. So I think this is the thing. Now, in India, our healthcare has come to that standard because of our continuous adaptation and the trust of the doctor. The doctor now realizes if he has the enough support, the first big support is the technology.
Yeah.
And the trained people with him. And they can do what the world can do. And in every single discipline, I talked about heart, I talked about transplant, I can talk about neurosurgery, I can talk about oncology. In all of these, we have adopted because in the beginning, I brought doctors from abroad. I took a few good doctors, 6, 7 doctors from here. I brought every year. I used to go to UK and see a few hundred doctors, pick 100, 150 doctors. Totally 1,600 doctors I got from UK and US. Today, our doctors are ready to go to UK, US and everywhere in the world. And actually, we were signed up with a few countries that our doctors will go and do their special surgeries, special consultations and all of this. So I think I had the trust because I saw when I was in US, I was as good as the so-called the local doctor, but because I had everything that they had.
I understand
So
that.
this is what I did. I brought everything in cardiology. So this is why I became a successful cardiologist when I started my practice in India.
But the stress, how did you manage stress? You said there was a lot of stress, but now you say I don't take stress. I do the work, I look at the challenge, but is there a mechanism? Is there, how do we do it?
First, I see that whether the doctor is doing all his best and whether he has everything supporting him to give the best care for patient. And next day I inquire and get satisfied that, as I said, these 2 people, like that similarly every day, the number of patients who are leaving the hospital compared to the small number of patients, 0.2%, I think is our death rate in the hospital in major, in cardiac and other things. Other medical conditions, it's almost 100%, they go back normally. Major oncological surgery, again, over 99% get well. Even if it's now previously and stage 3, if it goes beyond that, we didn't have. Now after proton, even those people are getting well.
Right.
People who had no hope at all.
But how do you, and if it's for this generation and for all of us also as a learning, how do you deal with failure? How do you deal with challenges? If you can explain to us via some incident in your life, how does one deal with, oh, I have a roadblock, I don't know how to get across this, or I want to do this but I don't know how to do it. What does one do? How does one fail? Or you try something, it doesn't work out. And people brand you a failure. So what do you do? How do you deal with it?
First, I have a good team of people because I don't know administration. I'm a doctor. I don't know administration. But I've selected good people, professionals, to run the hospital. And I'm a cardiologist. But the hospital does everything, as I say, including transplants.
Yeah.
But because I've selected good doctors and given them a good team, given them the technological background, but they perform. But when they have a problem, when I go and tell me a problem, we'll try to collectively see how we can solve that problem.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it myself. Because but if we solve that problem, the MD, what he does is, what he or she might say, my daughter, she tells the other hospital, this problem became, we solved it like this, so you should not have the same problem there. So I think it's a continuous process. Whatever you want to call it, our goal for excellence has this blockages. We try to clear it and see that whatever comes in one hospital, if they have solved it, that problem should not occur in other hospitals.
So you're saying one is information sharing, two you say have a good team of people. So the jobs that you can't do, get people who can do that job well, put them in place, and then communicate with each other. An instance when somebody told you...
Same thing, even when a difficult problem comes, we want the doctor to have a panel, 3-4 of them to discuss, so that the best thing is the patient gets the best possible care.
But as an individual, in your years as you were bringing and building up of the first hospital that you set up of Apollo, there must have been people who said, what are you doing? It's not going to work.
Not only that, in the beginning when I thought of this, I had a successful practice.
Yeah.
Very busy as a cardiologist. When I wanted this to happen, many people, including my own Sambandhi, Prathap Reddy, he said, what are you doing? If you want next door, you put up a hospital there. Why are you thinking of all these crazy things? Because none of this was available. Custom duty was 320%. The hospitals were not funded by any institution, and costs are different.
Yeah.
So everything is in Delhi. And Delhi I went first time as a student. Second time I went for this purpose. You can imagine, and fortunately for me, one of the general secretaries, Mr. Mupanar from Madras, I met him on the plane. So he said, come next to me tomorrow morning, we'll take you for Dharma Darshan. So I went in Dharma Darshan. First day, second day, they said, he's so and so. She just passed on. On the fourth day, the RK, the one, he asked, you want to meet her? I said, of course.
Her is Indira Gandhi.
Indira Gandhi. She listened to me for 12 minutes and she was so impressed that something should be done. Immediately she picked up the phone, asked the secretary, Krishnam Rao Sahib, you must listen to him and do something about it and do it before this cabinet. So I went to him, he spent more than 2 hours with me, called the Secretary of Health, Secretary of Finance, Secretary Civil Supplies, for steel, cement, all 4 of them. So I had a meeting with them and they all decided, they recommended, number 1, the custom duty exemption from 320% to 0.
Wow.
And previously, the cement by government was 16%, and on the public it was almost 40 rupees. Steel was the similar. So civil supplies, Prathap Mukherjee, he granted steel and cement for the first hospital. Like that, but it's not, I'm taking it now in 3 minutes, but I had to make 50 trips.
50 trips.
To see the minister is different. To see the secretary and convince him. Then finally down the line, the undersecretary or, for him, that's where I learnt a little Hindi. But finally, but I am happy. They all understood, saying, I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking to translate the health status of the nation. From a third world country, I'm looking, saying, my people in India should be able to get the same care that's available anywhere in the world. So this, as I said, some of my friends, even on the day when the president inaugurated, people who were inside, at the end of the function, they said, Dr. Reddy, you are a very clever fellow. You built a beautiful hospital. You're going to turn it into a beautiful 5-star hotel. I said, you're wrong. It's not 5-star. I'm going to make it a 7-star hospital.
Lovely.
And so, by God's grace, I think it's a superstar hospital providing care not only for people here, anywhere in the world. We get an average about 10% of our patients are from 150 countries because they trust us. Like as I told you, on air ambulance, people were unconscious. If they could spend money and trust to come an air ambulance to Apollo, that shows that Indian healthcare today is
the standards
as good
have
as
changed.
Anywhere in the world.
But let me ask you, is it still so tough, so difficult to start a hospital, or have those things become easier?
I think that's very easy now because funding, for first time, the funding was done by Prathap Mukherjee. I remember how it got done. He told the finance secretary came in. He told him, you are going to show that I am a useless finance minister of India. Why, sir? This concept is very sweet to the Prime Minister. If I don't do it, she will do it. So Malhotra took me by hand to his room and gave me a letter that 4 banks will fund me and foreign exchange I can allow. But that's only for Chennai. But the country's healthcare changed because of the next Prime Minister. He was also the finance minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. He brought in I got a call. He is going to pass your resolution. Do you want to come? I went. I was sitting there, and the act was passed. That act, allowed hospitals to be funded by the institution. And the first institution that's funded by ICICI to my Hyderabad hospital. Even today, for every anniversary, I send a letter to ICICI president. Whoever is the chairman of ICICI, Mr. Bahul was the dynamic man. Then come a super person, and who, the president chairman, continuously I send my thank you on that day, saying that you are one of the persons who helped change the
transform
healthcare of the nation.
How is the current leadership with their side to healthcare? You have met PM Modi also.
All of them are very happy. They come to us. I don't have to go to them. They come to us saying, what can we do? Now, for example, we are now doing 7-8 hospitals. They're all willing to fund it if necessary. I have my internal funds, but I still need the bank funds to enter. 7 hospitals. I'm doing 2 in Delhi. One I did for the exclusively for women. I don't know if you know about it. This is a first of its kind in the world. A first women's cancer hospital with state-of-the-art technology and excellent clinical staff to do the very best for the women. Along with it, I added saying, it also does a preventive care for women.
Women.
So we treat their cancer women, plus we look after their wellness.
Oh, wow.
So.
So amidst all this, you've achieved so much. There's so much to talk about, sir. So we'll keep drifting here and there. But I want to come back to this. When somebody says, "No, Prathap, you cannot do it," at that time, "Oh, this is going to fail," there must have been somebody who said, "No, you go ahead and do it. I believe in you." Who was that person? Who never thought you're going to go wrong? Who always gave you confidence that you will succeed?
No, I think nobody said that in that positive manner. I'm happy you are trying to change it. It's going to be difficult for you. I'm happy you're pursuing it because they saw me traveling so many times to Delhi.
No, in your family, your wife, your father, your brothers?
Fortunately, my wife supported completely because my wife did two things. First, when I was in US, and I got a letter from my father. He used to appreciate. He wrote a letter. Whenever you write your letter, there are two of us who are very happy with what you are doing. But if you can do something back home, how will that be? So my wife was the first one who said, "No, we must go back." And my children are all below 12, who are all today superstars.
Yes.
My 4 daughters
Super
have done
achievers.
so much for Apollo in the last 40 years. But at that time they were below 12. So they couldn't say no. So I came back to India. So I think similarly, my wife supported. If you think it's good that you can make a difference, you've done this much in India. If you want to do, I think we should. So, so like that,
You had 4 super achievers and daughters, 4 daughters. Did they all naturally join you in Apollo?
Yes, they just.
Or did you look at them and say, "You're not going anywhere else, you got to be here"?
No,
only?
I didn't do that. They became saying, as the problem solvers. For example, there was no hospital architect in India. My third daughter, Shobhana, she sat next to my room in the office. And we picked an architect who was well known for building homes. He built my home also.
Okay.
He was very famous for building homes. So she took him. But what she did was, for each department, if you want to build emergency, she called 2 or 3 doctors who were working in, those days they were called casualty, and called them, "What would you like in your department?" So she planned that and then gave it to similarly, she would call 5, 6 surgeons and said, different surgeons, "What would you like in your theatre? How do you want your theatre to be? What is the pre and post things that you need?" Like that, she did the first multi-specialty hospital architecture was done by Mr. Govindarao, but supported by Shobhana. Similarly, the services, patient services, my youngest daughter Sangeeta, she is a very kind-hearted person.
Yeah.
So she used to come. For example, when the hospital, rainy season, water went into the basement. Essential services were in the basement. She used to be there all night. Like that automatically. My second daughter, Sunita, who is now the managing director, she is the one who gave the name Apollo. I thought, she always jokes. I thought this was a joke, I got angry. Then he said, "No, Dad, this is the Greek gods for her head." So, and Preetha, who is now the chairman, and she used to be very, very particular about whatever, if you want to do something, she will look at the 360 degrees of the angle and give exactly what to be done. So like that they started. They never had jobs, they never had salaries, but they worked hard, and gradually they came into the field, even after they got married.
What was that a tough?
I think it's a tremendous thing. All 4 of them, I have to mention for their singular contributions to each one in different fields of health.
As a father, did you think at any point that now that if they get married, this is a conventional thought process, not that I subscribe to it or many of our viewers subscribe to it, but there is a thing that once the daughters get married, they get swayed by their responsibilities with their partner and their own families, and then they may not continue to sustain the business or follow in the same footsteps. Did that thought ever cross your mind?
I'll give you a very nice thing, relative what happened. So my first daughter, Preetha, and she was finished her 10th exam, and plus 2, and I wanted her to become a doctor. So I called the Chief Minister's office. Chief Minister said, "Don't waste your time, we are busy. Anyway, I come to see patients in your hospital, I'll see you." So he didn't give me interview. So next day he came to see a patient. So he asked, "Why do?" I said, "I want my daughter to get a seat. If you can help, I'll be very happy." So then later on I told her, "Don't apply because you will get a seat. But in our community, they may not accept you as a doctor. They may not allow you to work as a..." This was in 76, 75, 76. So, so she didn't apply. But later on in September, that same Chief Minister called me, and then I said, if somebody wants a daughter to be a doctor, they'll apply, they'll remind the Chief Minister. I said, no, I decided that she should not apply. No, I didn't call you for that because you are an Andhra, no? Because there is a quota for Andhras. There is an Andhra quota that if she wants, she can go and join tomorrow. I said, she has decided that she should not be a doctor. So like that was the concept those days.
Right.
That women. But although when I started, mine was the first batch, but 50% is guaranteed for women.
You think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Very good thing. I think they made a tremendous contribution, and today healthcare should be proud that they portrayed the women as the savior. Because we have more than 50% of the doctors are nurses, more than 80% of the nurses are women, and several other technologies are women, and they're doing this great job. Healing people.
True.
Is the greatest thing that you can ever do. Give back to life to people. So these women are doing it. So I'm very proud.
But doing so much, were you able to be around for your family? Is this very tough to balance? Everybody is talking about work-life balance. What is your view on that?
I wish I could have spent more time with them. So, like for example, wherever I am on Sunday, the whole family comes, because that's the only time I can spend some time with them. So my wife compensates for this, but I always felt it, especially when they are children. You enjoy your children, grandchildren. I love that, but I have no time. I have time only that Sunday afternoon for 2 or 3 hours I spend with them. But I miss that, but they know that I am working and that I have love and affection for my children and grandchildren.
Do you believe this is important, family values?
I think it's very important.
And does that play on health, well-being also?
That makes a big difference for them, and it brings them that confidence, that love and affection automatically becomes the inner strength for them. So even though I meet for a short time, I give my love and blessings to them. I think every father must do that, every grandfather must do it. Now I've got 14 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
So the last one was born last month.
Wow, congratulations.
I was so happy to go and see, and I carried him. When they wanted him, I didn't want to give back. So that's a pleasure.
You think that also is important for the overall well-being? Sometimes family reunions, sitting with family, having a meal together can be a biggest stress buster. Some people, can. Is that lost, or should we bring it back into society now?
I think India was traditionally well known for it. A little bit of thing is lessening. I think we must improve that. I know another country, maybe some other country, Italians are the same like us. They are also very, very important. In the US, I had an Italian couple very, very close. So we used to go to Christmas with their parents' house. And their parents will give whatever they give them, they'll give for my wife and my children. So I used to see how close they are. Like we are so close. Italians like that. There's few countries who are like that. I think we should encourage that because that gives them that strength, eases that strain, the tensions that they've had. So frees them to think big and act well.
Are you a spiritual person? Do you believe in
Very
a lot
much.
of prayer? Does that
Very
help?
much. I do in the morning. I do my prayers in the evening. And you saw in the room about pictures.
But how does that help? Do you believe every person needs to find their spiritual connect? Does that help you center or as a professional also?
Whatever you do, people do yoga, they do meditation. All of these are like prayers. I think my prayers are like yoga and meditation put together. That gives me that type of spirit, clears my mind, thinks, my inner consciousness and spiritual power improves whatever I am doing. And my day's strain is taken off and gives me the future vision, future thoughts.
But Dr.
Like whatever yoga meditation, prayers are, an upper thing than meditation and yoga.
But man of science, person of science, and spirituality, they're supposed to be two separate paths. How can a person who believes in science and who's a doctor also be spiritual or have deep faith? This is a question often asked. So, how would you answer it?
Well, I don't know. This question is a very simple question to answer. The super person has given you a small sperm, which is what? You can't see, microsperm, which has made you what you are today. And completely, every day, so many millions of cells are being thrown out and new cells are formed. All your system, from that small cell, you developed a body like this, whether it's a female or female. So he has given those. So I have no comparison.
So you believe there is along with the science there is also a supreme, or there is an element of divinity in creation itself?
No. We're here. This tree is different. Its seed is different, and it brings this. So I think it's all the Creator, whatever name you call him. But there is a creation because we are actually seeing it.
Yeah.
Whatever you are, before your birth, you are a small microsperm. So, and these two join, and from that.
So the argument, sir, where it comes from is that then why do we need a doctor or a human being to fix a heart or to fix a valve or to operate or to fix a hand, a broken hand? He's created, so let him only fix it. So that's where the contradictions start coming. So how would you answer such,
Because he is not there, no? You can't see him. Physically he is not there with you. So, most of the priests and all that, probably they have less ailments. Because we don't follow the strict discipline of good health, good diet, good exercise, good mental things. All of these health maintenance 7 guidelines to keep good health. If we keep that, Probably you don't need him much.
You don't need the doctor much.
Yeah.
But maybe there are others who say perhaps God also created doctors so that he can fix all those people who don't follow the right path in terms of keeping good health. But, there's another argument of traditional medicine, or let's say Ayurveda or forms of medicine versus modern medicine. Do you want to, one tends to talk down the other, talk up the other, there are claims made. What is your understanding? How would you look at modern medicine?
I'll give you a small, first I'll start with saying, today I'm happy it's not Apollo, there are another 300 good hospitals in India. I wrote to our Prime Minister, first I must say I admire the Prime Minister, he's a great Prime Minister. I wrote to him that India today can become global healthcare destination, and I wrote 8 steps how this can happen. And they gave another other thing. There's a challenge, there's a shortage of 8 million healthcare doctors, nurses, paramedics in the world. Only India can do this. I called it global workforce. And I said I would like to come and explain this to the Prime with my 3 Shaktis. So a letter went to him. The appointment came. And then my wife said, why 4 daughters, why not me? So my secretary called, they said, please send her also. I'll show you the pictures. But anyway, she also came. But he said, I went through the whole thing, I agree completely. Your concept and your 8 steps will follow. But I want to call it as Heal by India, because way back in 750 BC, Sushruta did the first diagnostic, this one, medical treatment. Until 1250 AD, the world came to India for Ayurveda. And I strongly believe in Ayurveda. We have Apollo Ayurvedic Hospital. We have in Delhi, we have here a beautiful one, small one, 31. And in Oncology Hospital, we have, in Bangalore, we have 3 hospitals. But we are concentrating more and more. I strongly believe there should be an integration of all of these, allopathy, Ayurveda, Unani, homeopathy, all of this, and to see what best the patient can get. Like for example, I have a knee pain. They did a huge surgery and all that. That 50% relief. I called the Ayurvedic people, and my knee is perfect. In 2 days, they put some medicine, the patch and a little massage, and it became absolutely normal. So I think you should adopt this.
So you're saying let's integrate everything.
My brother, about 50 years ago, he had cardiac problem. It's rheumatoid cardiac. So the allopathy said he has probably a few more weeks to live. So somebody told my father, take him to Kerala. So he went there. He had a treatment for rheumatoid, and he lived 12, 15 years, 17 years after that. But he didn't die of heart. He died of a stroke. So that's so for rheumatoid, we have no cure. We give cortisone, which only suppresses it, but it doesn't cure it. But Ayurveda cures it. So I think we need to bring in a collective. This I think is Prime Minister's wish to. Government of India is acting on it. I'm one of those who strongly propagate it. From 20 years I've been talking about saying that we should bring a harmonious thing. But fortunately, previously it was not allowed. Our hospital guidelines didn't allow it. Now they not only allow, insurance also is reimbursing. So gradually it's...
Okay, final 2 questions, Dr. Saab. I know it's a long conversation. I would like to speak more, but time is of essence. You said you admire Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Why do you admire him?
I admire him because he thinks that India should get back to its old status of being one of the foremost countries, because people are intelligent, people are capable, and they have been deprived of few things. we must give them those. And if we give all of these, they will spring back and make India proud. And his Viksit Bharat 2040 vision is great. And he's not only talking, he's acting. As I told you in my two things, when I told them, he named it Heal India, Heal by India. After we left 1.5 hours, 2.5 hours he spent directing the various ministries. So now they have started 40 new medical colleges last year. This year they're starting a few more medical colleges. They started 100 nursing colleges, and they increased the nursing students from 70 to 300 per college.
Per college.
So to meet that global Indian shortage, global shortage. So I think he's acting. And only thing is, on Heal India, one more thing, next time I meet, I want to see that if they can give visa on arrival. It's today about $60-70 billion industry to health tourism. It is going to grow to at least 200 billion in the next 2 decades. So India will be, today we are getting a small percentage. We can get a significant amount of that foreign exchange. More than that, you'll be able to give honorary good jobs for people, employment, good employment for our people, doctors, nurses, paramedics, who are proud to what they are doing, apart from improving their living standards.
Oh, fantastic. A great suggestion of visa on arrival.
Then we are sending people abroad, and they will not only live happily, they will support their families back home. And Government of India gets remittances. So in all of this, I think he has done whatever he is doing. For example, Operation Sindoor is something which is very creditable. Took a strong stand. He didn't, want to bend. It's not his bending. He didn't want India to bend.
To bend.
So that is what I admire him.
My final question is the first question that I asked you.
Yeah.
What is the road ahead for healthcare? What do we need to do as a country?
My future vision is very simple. I call it as H at H, health, happiness at home. So to be able to do this, you are doing everything.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of saying, how good is my health? Can I go and get a checkup and ask a doctor? There's a specialty like healthcare. Can I go and get a healthcare? I want people to spend a little time in a year. There's 24 hours a day, 365 days. In all of this, I want about a couple of hours a year to spend on their health, to find out where they are. Because if we find out early enough, all of the diseases are payable. See, the biggest challenge that the world is facing today is non-communicable diseases. Heart attack, stroke, cancer, infections, diabetes, obesity, mental illness. All these are curable. I told you I have all of this. I'm living absolutely normal health. So this is where I think that health, happiness should come, because the health should become priority. That is my most important thing for people to say. We have now a program. We've done 28 million checkups. I want them to have a checkup to find out what their health is. Because if you find out early, I'll give a small example. I come from a village about 100 miles from here. I've adopted 60,000 people. I've done all that checkup. But my doctors go around, 2 vans. My doctors go around the hamlets and keep them. They're very healthy. And I did the same thing for, we have 90,000 hospital family. We did a checkup for them, their spouses and their adult children, free. My board first said, how can you spend so many thousand crores? I said, whose money I'm spending? It is their money. And their good health is important. We found so many people with early heart problems. So many cancers were removed. Diabetes, hypertension, all these are controlled. They're in good health. So I want all of everybody, not only the corporate looking after their people, every individual should think, I must give a little time. What does it cost? 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, or a Zen is a lakh of rupees. It predicts your gastric biome, your genetic analysis, all of this. It predicts saying that you are liable for this. So you can avoid this disease caring for this. And that's once in an hour. Then you spend that so-called genetic analysis is good enough for 10 years.
10 years.
You know. So this is where I think a priority should be saying, I must also give priority for my health. So then I will be happy because somebody is sick in the house or somebody passes off in the house, the whole house, the happiness is destroyed. That's why I said 3 H's. My future wishes, health, happiness at home.
Fantastic, Dr. Prathap Reddy ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anand.
What an amazing conversation. It's just been amazing. I look forward to the next one very, very soon.